you can go ahead and try to go back into Facebook.
All right, we are live with promoter Darrell Devor, and it looks like we're going to have to get a little caffeine in him. He's still recovering from the Florida Pro Championship weekend. Hold on. Hey, Darrell.
Hey, what's up, Sammy Joe?
So, championship weekend kicked your butt, huh?
Uh, there are a lot of moving parts to my show. So as ADD and just yeah, it was a lot. So just getting recuperated.
Well, in my eyes, it was a success. You killed it. You blew it out of the water. Everything you said you were going to do, you delivered.
Well, that's the main thing. I just wanted to make sure that I tried to one up from last year. The athletes saw that last year. I had to do something better this year. I had to make sure that the athletes saw a show that they wanted to come back to, and they were treated in a fashion that they would come back to the show. So I hope that I hope that I pulled that off for everybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, like everybody's kind of done their own recap of how the event was the whole weekend. What is your recap? What are your thoughts now that you've had time to collect them and kind of go through everything and maybe get some emails and some feedback? How do you feel the event went?
Well, from the feedback that I've got from the athletes is fantastic. But as a promoter, and you've been one as well, there's always the million invisible screw ups that just keep playing over in your mind over and over and over again to fix. I've already addressed a lot of those. Some might have been visible. Hopefully, the majority were invisible. So we're just going to move forward for 2023 to try to put on an even bigger and better experience for the athletes, the amateurs on Saturday, and the pros as well on Sunday.
Awesome. So, going with that being said, what are some things that you would do different for next year? I know you've already been thinking.
One is the lighting. I wasn't happy with the lighting, even though the lighting was fantastic as far as your average show, but I don't want to ever be considered an average show. So next year, there was a little bit too much shadow on the background, on the backdrop for me. So after talking to a lot of people and photographers and to you about it, I'm going to blast open the overhead lights above the stage to cut down on the background shadow. And I'm going to move my can lights further in off the walls to give better lighting for the stage. So one thing, as far as a little bit of that lighting, I've already addressed that moving forward, and that's going to be even bigger and better for next year for sure.
So while you're talking, I'm just running through. I think I hit every single athlete in the show. This is just a quick little.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing, staring at my backdrop, I'm so ADD. The backdrop was about 10 inches too high. I I didn't want it floor level, but I had it just a tiny bit too high for my taste. So I think we'll lower that just a little bit next year. And with the corrections with the lighting, I think we'll be super. And the pictures that I've seen from Greg and from John, from the athletes, have just been nothing short of amazing. So the lighting must not have been too bad.
Oh,
just for me.
exactly. And from the video aspect, it was great on my end as well.
Awesome. That's the my and we've talked about this before in some of our chats. I want the pictures from the audience to be just as good as the professional stage shots. So if those iPhones or cell phones or whatever can't grab a good picture based on the lighting from the crowd, because those are the ones that are shared more than any other pictures, those are honestly the pictures that I want to ensure are really high class and high grade, so that the athletes can be even seen by their families in their shots with good photos.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there was a lot going on. So for those of you that didn't make the show, Saturday was all amateur and Sunday was all pro. What was the feedback on the 2 day format?
Everything that I got was everybody loved the 2 day format. The amateurs liked not being rushed, and the pros liked having their own day and not being rushed as well. So going forward, this is always going to be a 2 day format show. Uh, excuse me. This year we were about 30 amateurs light from what we had last year. So I'm going to adjust my marketing and my advertising to fix that, so that we can make sure that we get the amateurs into the best show in Florida for the state championship, so that they can take advantage of the championship weekend and everything that we do for them. So that's one thing I want to address for next year. And I think that I've got my format for the show flow the way that makes sense for my show to run. We were
Right.
figuring out a little bit on Saturday, but I think on Saturday for the pro day, the flow and the format was really nice. I'm going to make a few tweaks and changes next year just to make it better. But I think I've got a good format for my show. Might not be the format for everybody else's show, but I think for mine, I think we got it dialed into where the format that we ran final on Sunday makes sense for both days.
Awesome, awesome. So in your eyes, what were some of the highlights from this event?
Well, let me tell you, we were a little bit short on amateurs, but let me tell you what, there were some high caliber amateur athletes that showed up. Our bikini overall, our masters bikini, our bikini tall, our bodybuilding, our classic physique, our men's physique. We were a little bit light in some categories, but let me tell you, the people that showed up, they were no joke. That was probably one of my bigger highlights from the weekend. And obviously the pro day on Sunday, uh, just wow, just the level of pro talent on that stage from around the country it was just mind blowing to me, and I'm so honored and blessed that everybody chose my show on both days for Saturday and Sunday.
Absolutely. And let's talk about this after party as well. For Sunday's after party.
Yes, Saturday's after party. That one is we didn't have very many people show up, and I'm gonna call that to the pros. That the amateurs, they may not ever see each other again until they become pros. That might be just a one
Exactly.
show or a two show that they see each other. So there's not a lot of camaraderie or fellowship that they see each other over and over and over again like the pros do.
Right.
Sunday for the pro athlete after party, we had a little fun. Yeah, that was a blowout. That was fantastic, and that's one of the corrections that I am making for next year uh, for the food situation at the hotel. Next year, the pro athlete party on Sunday will be catered. So
Awesome.
nobody will be looking for food. You can stuff your bellies, binge and purge,
So
but we will
this
have
highlight
food.
video just popped into the pro side of the show. So you can see a stark difference between the physiques of the amateur to the pro level here.
And let me just say, I just saw him flash across the stage. Let me give a huge shout out to Mr. James Anton. He made leaps and bounds from last year. He really brought a big difference in his physique on the pro stage this year. So big shout out to James, because he really brought it, and that's not taking away from good Lord every winner, every participant. Um, and if you didn't place on pro day, listen, you've got nothing to be ashamed or upset. Well, you can still be upset, but this wasn't your average local show or beginning of the season show. This brought out some of the best season ending talent from across the country. It was
Absolutely.
stacked from top to bottom.
Absolutely. It was such a joy to be there and witness this. And like you had touched on camaraderie amongst the pros, it was at an all-time high at this event.
Well, and that's I think that's one of the biggest differences between natural bodybuilding and the other side. Everybody is just kind of out for themselves. They really don't care about the other person. They don't care if they ever see the other person. They would prefer to be the only one on stage and win. It's really not like that on the natural side, and I'm really happy and really pleased that on our side of the spectrum that everybody gets along, everybody knows each other, win, lose or draw, everybody has a good time, everybody loves seeing each other, and it's a lot of a high level of camaraderie and sportsmanship, and I couldn't thank all the pros and the amateurs also for that this past weekend.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm trying to see if I had any other questions for you. So, are you thinking on staying in the same location next year for 2023?
Well, it is not my favorite venue as far as Expo. However, I got such overwhelming feedback that the athletes love the venue. They love the hotel. They love the lobby. They love the stage. They loved the pub. I just got so much from the athletes saying how much they loved it that I'm actually considering doing a multi-year deal there and actually just making it bigger and better and fine tuning even going forward from what we did this weekend.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure that we're going to have it right back there again next year, but just bigger and better.
I love it. I love it. And um, what else? What else
Well,
can we
the
add to this? You know, the new pros were crowned on Saturday. Have you ever
absolutely.
considered having letting those new pros? Well, I guess we can't do that because of drug testing. I was going to say
Well,
allowing them to compete on Sunday.
I've considered that, and I've gone through it with the organization a little bit. I need to fine tune it a little bit more to get them on board. That would be a possibility, but then it gets into uh, I try to take care of the athletes. So they paid their amateur fee. Now they want to compete on Sunday as a pro. Do I do they get charged a full pro fee, or do they get their amateur fee graded into the pro and subtracted from their pro card fee if they wanted to do so there's some little inner workings that I can try to do. I would love to have that happen if some of the amateurs that get their pro cards wanted to slide over and compete on Sunday, but there's a little bit of there's some logistics involved that would have to be worked out that I need to figure out first.
Okay, okay. And the survey that you send out, have you sent that out? Have you gotten any feedback from that yet?
Well, no, what I've done is actually I'm going to send two surveys this year. I'm going to have an amateur survey and I'm going to have a pro survey.
Okay.
I just sent out my first recap email for all the email subscribers to my website with the judges' emails for feedback. Just a quick, tiny little recap and thank you, and gave out Muscle Papa and Diesel Wallach for backstage photos and the official stage shots to get those packages bought. Because listen, if you want great photos, you're not going to find much better lighting anywhere in the country or a better backdrop to have those photos taken against. So I really encourage all the athletes, and Muscle Papa takes care of the athletes, and so does Greg as far as price.
Yes.
So I highly encourage you to get your packages from two of the best photographers in the country, because you will
Yes.
not be disappointed at all in the level and the quality of the photos that you get from those guys.
I agree 100%. And they worked hard that weekend. They made sure they captured every photo. I think Greg even had two cameras going at one point. So,
I think
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
He had the little peephole in
Yeah.
the back doing some great shots through the curtain that I know some of the athletes have already published out.
Absolutely nothing was missed. Now, uh, my next question was, can you give us a little inside scoop on some of the questions that are on this survey? Maybe some of the people watching can give us some live input.
Well, well, no, absolutely. Have you ever done a show with our organization before? Would you recommend our show to someone else? Would you come back again to our show? Is
Hmm.
there anything that you thought was great at our show? What are the things that you thought could be improved at our show going forward? So it's what do you think about the quality of the awards? Were they better or worse than what you've had in the past? So it's the survey is basically gauged for me to 100% improve my show, not to blow my own horn or say how great was it. I want to
Hmm.
hear the bad and what you think can be improved or what you didn't like, and then you have an open spot at the end, free form. Just let it blast. Give your number if you don't. If you want to give your number, don't give your number. If you don't want to give your number, then you
Sure.
just have a whole comment section that you can chime in on. Because that's honestly the way that I improved from last year. I took all of my comments from the survey saying that tanning last year needed to be addressed, and let me give a huge shout out to Bella Glam and Show Glow. I had athlete after athlete after athlete at the show and in my DMs say how wonderful that they were. And the good news is they have already committed to come back next year.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
we are definitely having Show Glow and Bella Glam back next year. We are having Chula back as of right now. She has committed to come back next year for the show. Revo Media and Magazine will be back again next year to shoot athletes for their magazine and have a shot at the cover. And I'm very close. I'm optimistic. I'm really going to do everything that I can to actually get Wolfpack there with a table and a booth to actually sell their bags next year as well.
That would be
So I'm just
awesome.
trying to get high quality vendors there, and hopefully BPI. Chris, the only reason that he didn't have a big display in a booth there with products, it was his son's graduation weekend. So that's the only reason that BPI, who does amazing things for all the shows, all the goodie bags, and he also gave out
Let's
uh,
talk about
the
that.
one, yeah, the 1 year supplement sponsorship for BPI. And the one thing that I did not think of when I was doing this is I did tie it to the best pro in show, not knowing that the best pro in show already had a supplement contract with someone else. So what we did is we want to make sure that we awarded the supplement contract to someone that is highly visible on social media, that is going to promote the products, that is going to promote BPI, that is going to be highly active, that's going to be a good ambassador for the brand. And we did choose Jamal Williams,
Awesome.
our classic physique first place pro this year. So Jamal Williams is actually the recipient of this year's 12-month supplement sponsorship from BPI.
That's awesome. That's congratulations, Carolina Muscle.
Well,
That's
and
huge.
here's an extra little, and I'll let the pros chime in on this too if some of them happen to be throwing some comments around. Um, One of the things that I'm definitely doing for next year is we're going 4 grand higher. We are upping the payouts from 15,000 to 19,000, and my intent, unless I get feedback from the pros, is I'm paying top 5 in every division on pro day. I'm going to do 1,000, 500, 300, 200, and 100.
Top
So top
five.
5 in every pro division. And listen, I've mentioned this with you before.
Mm-hmm.
I could eliminate masters
Sure.
and double my payouts. But that's not what my show was designed for in the very beginning when we started going through this. I wanted to make sure I had somewhere for masters pros to come compete and earn money without getting lumped into the open divisions. You have a masters pro card for a reason. You're a
Right.
masters. So I
Right.
want you to come somewhere to where you can actually have a shot to make some money and get recognized for that pro master status. So that's
Absolutely.
why across the board, Open and Masters will be paid top five next year. So I think that should be a nice little one up from this year.
Yeah. No, I think having the Masters was a huge success. Those classes
Uh,
looked good. They were full. They were quality athletes. It's
the,
definitely
they were just as competitive, if not more competitive, than the Open. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean the Masters, the Masters pros brought it, and I want to give a quick shout out to a few people very quickly.
absolutely.
There were there were about four or five athletes that had emergencies that could not make it. Some were actually in the airport getting ready to fly to my event. So we actually would have had about six or well, actually is about six or seven more pros on stage that just for whatever reasons, and they were all good, could not make it. They are grandfathered 100% into next year's event, so your entry fee rolls over. We want you down, so you don't have to worry about an entry fee next year. You paid it this year, but hopefully everything works out and everything is fine with all things at hand to where we can actually get you on stage and enjoy championship weekend next year.
Awesome. And I know after seeing all of the positive feedback from this year, they are going to be more excited than ever to participate next year. No doubt about it.
Well, I hope so, and that's always the 100% intent.
Yes.
Again, like I did this year, I am shuffling my judging panel.
Okay.
So when you come next year, you will not see the same judges. Some of the judges you will see the same, some will not. But I think that is fair to where you don't see the same judges over and over and over again, to where you feel as an athlete that you're going to just be judged exactly the way you were last year because that
Absolutely.
same person was sitting in the chair. So for
Absolutely.
the judging, we are shuffling up our judging platform for next year, and we're going to make some additions. We're going to make some subtractions, but it's going to be for the best going forward. And just want to let the athletes know that you're always going to be judged as fairly as possible. If I have anything to do with it, and I'm the promoter, I have everything to do with it. So we're going to make sure that everything is the way that it should be.
So I want to let's talk about this. So, we always say that the promoter has nothing to do with the judging, right? You don't go anywhere near the judges table during the show.
No,
But one of the things that you do have the ability to do is post show, after the show, you collect those judges sheets and you're able to look over them, compare the scores, look at and see what judge put different athletes where. And as a promoter, that's very important information for you because um, it allows you to maybe find your weaker judges.
well, let me make the distinction because I don't want it to seem like that I'm trying to influence the outcome to the way that I want it judged.
No,
I
right,
am
right,
also
right.
I'm the promoter, but I'm also a natural pro athlete, and I'm
And
also a judge in four different natural organizations.
correct, right.
So when I'm looking at my masters and my score sheets, I am looking at it from a judge's eye as well as a promoter's eye, and I just want to make sure that I have the highest quality panel at all times for my athletes.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. And and I think we had spoke about this. So after the Mr. America, Mark had actually posted the judges sheets, and that kind of created a little bit of animosity between, I think, the athletes a bit.
Yeah,
I um
I was literally going to post them in scrambled order, but I have actually recanted on that. And for the athletes that I made a post, I made a quick little live saying that I was going to do it. I just don't feel that that would be conducive either for the athletes or the judges, because then it's just going to bring up things that you should have gotten during your feedback
correct.
moving forward. And listen, it's a contradiction in terms. This is a subjective sport based on stated criteria. What the hell does that even mean? But that's what it is.
Right.
So each judge, based on their experience and based on what they've done, they take that stated criteria and they make their decisions based on what they see.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does not have the same two eyeballs, so therein lies the subjective nature of stated criteria. So it kind of just is what it is. But I'm at all times going to try to make sure that it is criteria based. It is not opinion based. It's not preference based. It's not specific poses based. It's based on criteria and the best body and the best representation of the class on stage. That's my goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, let's see. With that said, yeah, I know. I think that is a great idea. Just like you said, the athletes had an opportunity to visit and talk to each judge. Which I will say, at the end of your show, I was pleasantly surprised at the amount of activity that was happening at the judges table at the end of the amateur and at the end of the pro show. So that is leaves me very optimistic that athletes are really starting to listen and starting to get that feedback and really trying to push themselves to the next level, whatever that is for each individual athlete.
Well, and it's very important for feedback. It's now
It was
mandatory in our
awesome.
organization that the judges stay for a minimum of 30 minutes. So no judge can leave. It's a minimum of 30 minutes. I wish more would have reached out, but I did send out an email blast today through my website with all of the judges' emails if they want to reach out for feedback. Please just, if you have a quick picture to jog their memory and your
Yes.
number, but they were taking extensive notes, and I made sure that throughout the weekend they were taking extensive notes so that they could give some quality feedback moving
Yes.
forward,
Yes.
pros and cons. Yeah.
So I'll even say Abraham, who was the head judge, I was there cleaning up and putting my equipment away, and I think he was there almost as long as I was. So he did not rush off, and he stayed until every single athlete had their chance and opportunity to speak with him. So I appreciate him doing that and taking his time to do that and
Well,
make it makes everybody better.
and I will apologize for all of the staff and judges and volunteers that were there that have not worked with me before, as in last year. I am extremely militant. I am extremely, I'm extremely abrupt when the show's going on. It just
Daryl,
needs to happen the way I want it,
let me stop you there. My
exactly the way I
husband
want it.
my husband helped me this year, and he's like, Samantha, I have a whole new appreciation for what you do. I loved working for you, but I'm never going to do it again. So we're the same.
Exactly. Well, I will make a quick little comment. One one athlete, one coach who was also competing on Sunday, came up to me while one of his athletes was competing on stage during Sunday, and I was running around like a chick with my head cut off. He called me over real quick, and he goes, "Hey, my athlete can't hear me. The music's too loud." And I just turned around and I said, "Then coach louder." And I just turned around and walked off. So I apologized to him later, but I'm like, that's me in a nutshell. You get what you get. So he knows who he is. We already had a talk, but I'm like, he just kind of looked at me like, oh my God, okay, I guess I'll coach louder. So, but I do want to give a shout out to the DJ Rodney. Listen, with Gary, with his injury, really freaked me out because I did not know if we were going to have a quality DJ. He came up from down south. He was recommended to me by Carlos, and from every athlete to a person and audience members, man, that DJ's music was on. He
He
was
was.
great. He was kicking. He was fantastic. I don't think we missed one single athlete's music. Not one single athlete did not pose to the music they were supposed to. Not one single complaint. And I don't know if you've been around for a while like we have, but that's unheard of.
Yes.
So a big huge shout out and thank you to Rodney Daniels. He did a fantastic job at the show.
He did. He really did. Oh, thank you, Henry, for that compliment. I appreciate it. Um, let's see here. So I actually had a question. It said, this is actually from Henry. He said, "Who critiques the judges and how are they assessed? What if they judged properly and you end up acquiring a lesser judge?" I'm just gonna say that's the roll of the dice. But there are so many judges in our industry that have a high, that have been doing it for a long time, and have. Uh, they've been assessed. Like we know that they're doing a good job. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's more experience. There's
Exactly.
different levels of experience of judges in this
Yes.
industry. So those are the ones, that's the pool you want to pluck from. It's about
Well, and
experience.
yes, I want to have judges with a very high judging IQ that's done it, and not just on the local show level, that have gone to the season ending shows, the championship level, and other organizations that have seen the higher caliber of pro athletes. Because when you start seeing that level of athlete on stage, you may have done it for years on the local level
Right.
and the regional level, but when you start pulling in world championship caliber athletes from across the country, it will blow your mind. You will get overwhelmed. And none of our judges were. And to that point, how our judges are assessed is all of the scorecards and all the master cards are sent off to the organization. We do have an officiant of our judges that reviews all the scorecards, and they are held to a 70% across the board based on the standard of judging. And if they don't meet that, then they are sent for remedial test judging to make sure that their judging IQ is to the level that we need it to when they actually get on that judging platform.
Absolutely. I think over the last few years, judging has been taken a lot more seriously. And I think the
Yes,
organizations are all doing a good job to educate and kind of like that continuing education for the judges. So that makes me really proud. And
yes, yes, yes. Well, and we're doing the little bit of different payouts. We're paying the top five. We're going to shuffle the judging panel a little bit. We are going to, and this is from survey of every male and female pro. We are going strictly to rings next year.
ooh,
Everybody loved the championship rings, so I am slightly redesigning the rings to make them even better. So they are going to be even better than what you see right now going forward next year. So I'm in the workings with them right now. I'm going to go ahead and order the rings for next year as well. We're going to redesign the medals for next year as well. Just a couple of tiny
awesome.
little improvements. I like the way my medals look. They're going to stay core the same because
Nice.
that's branding, but they're going to be a few additions, corrections, subtractions on
Nice.
the medals, and I think that's going to be a nice little deal. And the wonderful thing is, once I take my vacation at the end of this month, which I'm going to do my best not to even look at my phone, the dates for next year and the show poster is already out, minus some picture corrections when I get more high quality photos. Championship weekend will be on June 3rd and 4th next year. So it's going to be at the same location, June 3rd and 4th at the Orlando Hilton, excuse me, the Hilton of Altamont Springs. Um, and well, maybe some people do or don't know, on all of my promotion, on all of my social media, on all of the show workings, my Miss Florida and my Mr. Florida, my bikini overall champion amateur, and my bodybuilding overall champion amateur, as well as my best pro in show, are marketed on all of my show promotion.
Awesome.
So with that, we do have a few more stand ups to buy this year for Championship Row, because we did have a few brand new champions this year. So there will be some stand up editions in the lobby. I told
Let me see
Jamal
if I
he's
can
costing
pull
me money.
in. Let me see if I have a video of that lobby set up. That was awesome.
Yeah, I try to do a little bit of an ode to our champions, and that's going to be our champion, our stroll down championship lane. I'm going to continue to make stand ups of our show's previous and current champions moving forward. So we got to get Mr. Jamal a stand up. We've got to get Desario. We've got to get Miss Larissa. We've got to get Miss Maribel, Miss Marissa Bell, her stand up. So got a few more stand ups. There we go. So I tried to make it. I tried to give the pro athletes their due. When they walk in, they know that this is the event that they're at.
Oh, and it
So
created so much buzz just amongst the hotel in general for people that weren't even involved in the show. It was
well,
awesome.
there was actually a sheriff's convention that was there at the same time, and I had a few sheriffs on Sunday. Goes, hey, great show. I'm like, you came in to watch? Goes, yeah, we saw the stand ups and there was a lot of buzz, so we just bought a ticket and came in and watched. I'm like, hey, thank you.
Carry
That's
Permit
awesome.
Fitness and his family, they want to register today.
Hey, listen. Okay, you talk. Okay, and okay, my brain isn't all there still, but you talked about the highlight of the show.
They
Without question, the highlight of championship weekend was Carry Permit Fitness on stage with Malik and his daughter on stage for that posing routine. I don't know. People are going to have to start bringing monster trucks, farm animals. I mean, I don't know how they're going to one up Malik for what he did. It was just absolutely the cutest, most fantastic thing that was on stage that week. And if you haven't seen it, please go and watch the pro finals for men's physique, and just wait till you see carry permit fitness on stage. It was fantastic, and a huge shout out to his wife who did wonderful in the amateur division as well. Anna did fantastic in the amateur division also.
the whole family, they just nailed it. Yeah, they were awesome.
Yes, without without question, without question.
So he did put that out into the universe, top 3 next year. I'm holding you to it.
Oh, well. Listen, the scuttlebutt is that Mister Number One and Number Two will not be at the show in men's physique next year.
Okay,
They are
wow.
going to be they are going to be taking a year off, but they're going to be bringing massive teams and still promoting the show. So that leaves men's physique pro
Wide
day, pro
open.
division wide open. And I've already had a lot of DMs saying, hey, do you take our pro cars? Do you take our pro cars? I said, oh, yes, we do. And it's going to be wide up. And just going to Malik again, the transformation that he made just this year
Wow, really
from
was.
his first show to his second to my show, when I saw him on stage, I'm like, oh damn, Malik brought a package today. He was scary. And I know a couple of the guys were saying, Malik. I got Malik's no problem. And then Malik showed up on Sunday. He started pumping up and go, oh, well, where's the Malik that I saw that wasn't no problem? Because this ain't the same guy. So yeah, he did an amazing job at the package that he brought on stage on Sunday. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So we will probably be doing this. I really wanted to do this and give you a chance to just kind of give the recap just from like a promoter's perspective and what went well and what you would change and what, like even from me, like as a live streamer, yeah, there's always those little things that nobody else notices, but we do. And that's how we get better. But we will probably be doing, I guarantee you, we're going to be doing more recaps with some more in-depth
Yes.
footage because I have
Yes.
so much footage, guys, and I really want to take the time to really comb through the show and give props to everybody that was there and really do some in-depth recaps of the show in each individual division. So look for that in the future, and we'll probably be having some special guests on. I'd love to have Joe Lacira on to help conduct those recaps just because he did such an incredible job with the live
Absolutely.
commentary and he was there, he got to see it firsthand. So you'll probably be seeing him on the show here in the future. We're going to let the dust settle and kind of let
Yes.
yeah, and then we're just going to explode and bring the excitement back with some fun recaps and coverage.
Well, and let me give one of the largest and most well deserved shout outs of the entire championship weekend. And Sammy, that is to you.
Oh.
No, and stop being a self deprecating ass because I love that about you. I love that about you, but everybody that has gone and watched that YouTube footage that is up on Subculture Live right now, everybody that watched it when it was happening, there is nothing like that in bodybuilding right now. John Romano, who was here last year, said to you personally, Sammy,
He did.
you could do the live stream for the Mr. Olympia. That's how good you are. You need all the shout outs, all the kudos, because there is nothing like what you do anywhere out there. There's nobody that's even in the same zip code, in the same region, on the same planet as what you bring for these athletes and the coverage that you do for them. And that's not just because that you're doing it for me, but thank God, and I appreciate that you're doing it for me because I can use all of that to help promote my athletes and my show.
Oh
But
yes.
you need to get a huge shout out as well because I've already talked to Lee about it. I don't care what if I have to chain you to your minivan and drag you down next year. You are going to be a part of championship weekend next year for sure.
He's going over my head straight to the husband.
Oh no, I'm well. I don't know who's really in charge there. I'm not going to throw that. I'm not going to throw that moniker out there for anybody. I'm not getting into. I'm not wading into that pool. But but I will try to get the family on my side.
That,
Let's
that
just
is
put it
always
that way.
that is always a plus for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I would say if I only just did your shows, that would literally keep me busy all weekend or all year because you know how much I love digging into the footage and I love the editing aspect of it. And like I said, I did my own little recap and I said I'll probably be pulling out footage of individual athletes and sending them their own little promo videos, just because I love doing that. So yeah, like right after
Well,
this, I'm gonna
and it
post.
shows.
Yeah.
It shows that you love what you do. So I mean,
Aw,
and like I
thank
was
you.
saying earlier, it's for the reason that basically I barely got out of bed for a week is there, I just don't put three stand-ups on the stage and throw up some LED lights and say go. Okay, and it's to my own detriment. I have so many moving parts to my show, but that's the way I want to do it. That's what I want to give to the athletes. And you have even more moving parts to what you do. So if you think that I have a lot of moving parts, everybody out there, you really don't have any idea what goes into what she does because it's
I
crazy.
I
It's a
think
full time job.
it's safe to say that we're extra, Daryl. We're just extra.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe just a little.
Just, but that's
Yeah,
why we work
just
well together.
just a little. Yes, yes, we do.
And
We are salt and salt. We
you
are
and
not salt and
Holly
pepper.
left no stone unturned and made my job so much easier because of that. So
Well,
I thank you
well,
guys
I,
big time.
I'm glad you mentioned Holly because this weekend would have been impossible without her. Um, with everything that she put up with me throughout the year, with everything that she did from ticket sales, from merchandising, from raffle tickets, from going to get this, to make sure that's there, to make sure we had wristbands, to make sure that the athletes had what they needed, to make sure check-in was running fine. There's there is no way that this weekend would have even remotely happened without her. And I don't give her enough credit or the credit that I should as much as I should, but there is no way this show goes without her. It's a tag team. It's definitely a dynamic duo because now this is her second year doing it. She's almost she's got this stuff down now. I
She
mean, I don't
does.
even really have to. I don't even really have to tell her anything. She knows what's going on. She goes, I got it. I got it. Leave me alone. I got it. I know. I know where I know what I'm doing. So
Yes.
she's an integral part, and I hope the athletes saw that. I hope the spectators appreciated it from being out front and what she brought to the show as well.
Hold on, I have one cute little video I have to run here.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Aww. And she looks
oh,
cute
that's great.
doing it too.
That
Holly.
that was that was right after her photo shoot with Revo magazine during check-in. So she is without question the better half
The cutest
with all this stuff
co-promoter
that I
on the planet.
yeah, with all this that I've got going on. Yeah, she's definitely the beauty to my beast. That's without question.
Oh man, Darrell, thanks for coming on tonight. And I think this was great. You know, it lets the athletes know that
Uh,
you are constantly critiquing yourself and looking for ways to get better and listening to their feedback. I can't wait until you get all of those surveys back and you can just get
yeah.
to work and start planning. But I love that their dates are already set for next year and there's already conversations and there's already athletes wanting to register. I mean, what more can you ask for a week out from your event or a week
Yeah,
past
no,
your event?
well, that makes me that makes me feel like that I'm doing what I set out to do is to make it an event for the athletes. So if the biggest compliment is the athletes come back, and
Yes.
uh, I had over well right at 120 well not right at I had 125 total entries. That's people, not registrations for different classes.
Right.
And if all of our pros were able to make it on Sunday, there were 67 pro athletes registered on
That's
Sunday.
awesome. That's awesome.
And I'm just hoping to have that number again next year, make it grow, make it better, get some new people in to take advantage and see what championship weekend's all about and how we treat our athletes, both amateur and professional. And it was brought up that it's like I know that you just do the amateur side just to feed the pro show. Absolutely not. No, my amateur show is the state championships. So it's the only state championship in the state of Florida for natural athletes. So I put as much emphasis, and I may have slipped on my marketing a little bit this year for the amateur side, but my amateurs on Saturday mean just as much to me as my pros on Sunday because I want the amateurs on Saturday to see how I treat my pro athletes.
Absolutely.
That's what I want them to want to get. I want them to want to get that type of treatment being the next follow on generation of pro athletes.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that Joe had been saying in the commentary was, wow, how many athletes were returning from the previous year on the amateur and on the pro side. So that was definitely something that he was speaking about to the audience and letting them, making them aware of that and what a compliment it is to you as a promoter.
Very, very fortunate and very blessed. And I will continue to work as hard as I can to make sure that everyone keeps coming back and has an experience that they want to come back at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And thank you, Carlos. He is congratulating you and your entire team that made the show such a great experience.
And listen, now that we're doing shout outs, a huge, massive shout out to Walt and Beverly and Donovan backstage and Rodney. Without that team, and sometimes the expeditors a little bit aggro, but they have to because there's three people that make a show run: your DJ, your expediter, and your MC. If
Mm-hmm.
those three people aren't on equal playing field and know exactly what's going on, the show falls apart. They did an amazing job expediting with those athletes to keep the show running, to keep everybody on stage at the right times. Um,
They
and
did.
listen, sometimes things happen. An athlete will miss or an athlete's not there. But as far as an expediting team, I think I've got the best expediting team on the planet. and there's no better. That's out there shows right now. They're
No,
just not. That's why they were there last year. They were there this year, and they will be there again next year.
yeah, they did fantastic. And I like how the athletes were informed before they got on stage, because I loved how you had them come out and just kind of do like a quick pose before awards, which is what that video was that I ran at the beginning. I literally took those little clips, and that was so easy for me to edit because one was stepping on stage as the other one was stepping on. And that made such great footage. And a great opportunity for the audience to see their
I
loved
think
ones.
that I have my format down.
Yeah, I love it.
And the beautiful thing on the website, the order of events is already up. It's exactly what it was this year. No changes. So your order of events is exactly the same way for Saturday as it was this year, exactly the same way Sunday as it was for this year. So if you want to go to the website and figure out what the order of events is for next year for check-in, I see to change the dates. Okay, the dates need to be changed. But the order of events as far as when you're going on stage and the order,
Perfect.
cookie cutter, exactly the same. Exactly the same.
I loved it. And yeah, no, and thank you guys for all the comments and for watching. Hey, there's Joe. He missed us talking about him, bragging about him. But yeah, you were a huge part of my side of the show, which was the live stream. And so it's all time coded, guys. So like Darrell was saying, the show's going to be the exact same format. So if you're an athlete who didn't compete and you want to compete next year, just go to any one of the live streams and you can I have it all labeled, so you don't have to scroll through 4 hours of footage. Just go to the description, and if you want to see Classic Physique, just click Classic Physique, and that portion of the show will pop up for you. Because I wanted those live streams. Yeah, I wanted those to also be a tool for the athletes. So it's great for the athletes that were there, because they could showcase and show their friends and family. It's a tool for athletes that weren't there, and it's great promo for Darrell and the sport of natural bodybuilding. So it has many uses. I was going to take it down. I was going to take it down and polish it up and cut out all the timers and the little like oopsies. And then I said, you know what? It's live, raw footage, and I'm just going to own it and leave it up there. So take what you want from it.
And I'll address on Pro Day, and it had to happen on Pro Day, of course. We had a lighting issue with the can lights with the first class. But what had happened, excuse me, is the dimmer board overheated. So I immediately stopped the show. A lot of other shows would have just kept going, turned the house lights up and judged. Absolutely not. I am not going to judge a single athlete without the proper lighting. I stopped the show. It took the first class 53 minutes to get off stage. So they were dogged. It kind of threw a wrench into the pump up and the prep for the other pro classes. But I hope that they appreciated the fact that I would not let them walk on my stage for all the work that they put in with poor lighting. It won't happen if it happens that way next year, which it will not. We've already addressed that. There's a more high capacity dimmer board that's coming on for next year. And the other thing that I like about the Hilton, the girl that Kami that runs the pipe and drape and lighting for the Hilton, just happened to be in her office. Thank God. I knew where that was. I banged on the door. That was her day off. She stayed until 9 p.m. to make sure that if anything else happened, she was there to catch it. So huge shout out to the Hilton. That's a type of venue that I appreciate, because with all the work and effort that we put into putting it on and all the work and the effort that the athletes put into getting there, that's the last thing that you want, is your lights to go out and all your pictures and everything looks like crap. So big shout out to Kami and the Hilton for fixing the lighting as expeditiously as she could.
Yeah, they moved quick. I mean, yes. It's a live event. Weird stuff is going to happen. But you did. You took care of it in the best way you could, and you represented the athletes in the best way that you could. And people appreciated that big time. Because if it was them on stage, they would have wanted the same treatment. So the people backstage, they weren't even a little angry. They were like, awesome. Well done.
Well, and they could actually see what was going on, because you had the wonderful live stream going for the athletes on a television backstage. So they could actually watch what was going on stage. while they were back in the pump up room, which was absolutely fantastic. I got so many compliments from the athletes on that. That great job with that one, also, Sammy.
Oh yeah, that was fun, right? I liked having the TV back there. Yeah, I would recommend all promoters have that backstage because I got a lot of positive feedback from the athletes with that.
They absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yes, yes. So, anything else you want to add, or anybody in the comments? Do you guys have any questions for Darrell or any feedback? Because, I
Uh,
mean, man, I've just been putting your comments up here. But thank you, Larissa, Carolina Muscle, Brandy, Brandy Young. You were incredible. You were one of my favorites going into the show, and you absolutely killed it. You didn't disappoint. We got Brockman watching. Thank you for guest posing. That was a lot of fun.
yes,
It was really cool.
Mister
Really,
One, Mister 100 up on stage
yes.
guest posing.
And Robin McCord, she had her athletes in the show, and I would love to see her on stage next year because she's got a
Yes,
fabulous physique.
Robin, Robin.
And we got
I
Phil
want
Merritt.
you.
Oh, go ahead. What are you gonna say to Robin?
No, it's like I want you on stage next year, Robin.
Yes,
Please, Sam. Yeah, it's Robin's husband. Sam, get her on stage next year, please, 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 please.
he was
Yes, I would love that.
everywhere. He was everywhere, all over the hotel. He had a good time too. Um,
Well,
so
can I jump the? Can I jump? Can I jump your shark on one quick thing?
yeah, yeah.
And you'll probably be mad at me, but this is something that Sammy came up with that I absolutely love. Can I throw out the people's thing?
Um, yeah, it's in the yeah, you can throw it out. It's in the it's a work in progress and brainstorming it right now.
This is a work in progress, but in the coming months, once she figures it out, there will be a people's champion of the show figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going to do for that is whoever and however Miss Feenberg decides to work the people's champion will get a free entry, free tanning, and free polygraph into my event next year.
Yeah, so the People's Champ is going to be strictly an online. It's going to strictly be footage pulled from the live stream. It's going to be kind of like an online. There may be like some sort of voting process or something along those lines. I haven't worked out all the details, but I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be on an airplane for many hours, making notes and thinking about the best way to bring that to you guys. But I really want to wait for all the excitement to sizzle out and then just
Yes,
bring
yes.
it all back
And
up.
no, no, in the months coming, and I didn't mean to jump your shark. I know you're probably going to cuss me out when we get off
No,
camera.
not at all.
I just thought that was such an amazing idea. That's just another something that you come up with. That is, I just think it's a fantastic idea.
I think it'll be fun. And Ron asked if there's any 60 and over classes, and there actually was a 70 and over bodybuilding class in the amateurs.
Yes, I did have in bodybuilding masters there was 40, 50, 60, and 70 and over. In bikini, I did have 40, 50, and 60.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't have any female athletes in bikini this year that did 60 plus, but that class is out there and available. So I'm going to leave it exactly the same for next year at bodybuilding. Our master's classes traditionally for classic physique and men's physique are just 40 plus. But for bodybuilding, we do break it down to 40, 50, 60, 70.
Mm-hmm.
And for bikini, 40, 50, 60. So that's the format that we used for the last 2 years. And I think that's the exact same format we're going to use going forward as well.
Yeah, yeah, I liked it. I liked it. And there were athletes in all those divisions. Women's physique, where are you? I might have to personally pound the pavement next year and drum up some women's physique athletes because I know they're out there.
I did not. I only had two women's physique athletes. Unfortunately, one of the amateur women's physique athletes, who was a former drill sergeant buddy of mine, she had a family health thing that she couldn't make it. She's grandfathered into for next year also. But for the pro women, last year I did not have a single pro women's physique. This year, I did not even have a single anything pro women's physique. I don't understand it. I
I
don't
don't
know
either.
if it's too early in the season. The class is there.
Yeah.
Um, so I would love to see some, and the main reason I would love to see women's physique on stage is so that everyone can see the differentiation between figure and physique,
Absolutely.
because there is a difference in posing, in structure, in muscularity. I would love to see that class represented on stage next year. I really would. So just throwing that out there in the universe, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Where are the women's physique athletes?
So Carlos wants to know, what is the criteria for your team award, and will that be offered next year?
Yes, and I have no idea if I'm going to have to offer a car next year, because or because I thought the hammer was pretty cool. I'm hoping some movie comes out with something relevant that I can figure out to do for the team award next year. That was actually my most expensive award for the entire show by 3 times. Um, but I liked it. I wanted to do it, so that's what it was. But yes, the way that the team award broke down is that for you got 1 point for every amateur division entered. So if you
Amateur.
had an athlete that entered 3 divisions, you got 3 points for each athlete, however it broke down. And for every pro athlete, for every division that they entered, you got 2 points. The overwhelming team award was 2020 Physique. He brought a ton of athletes, and I know Showtime is not having that next year. And listen, I know Team Rare Breed after this year, he already said is like, no, we're bringing a squad
I love
next year.
it. I love it.
So the team award might get a little heated next year between that point tally. And if there's another team out there that wants to bring athletes, bring them on. Let's go.
So there's a question: would you consider putting the show later on this in the summer?
No, and here is why. I strategically placed my show between other major shows that
Mm-hmm.
start the year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the show that can feed your season. If you're a pro athlete, you win my show, that might pay for your next 3 or 4 entry fees. Also,
Correct.
my show last year launched. Well, I think it was 7 major
Yes.
organization world champions that were not world champions before my show last year. So let's see how this plays out this year. Who's going to be the like? Well, let's go Frank Herbert Dune style. What sleeper will awaken and just take the divisions by storm and pop out with some of those major titles this year? Because it was definitely a stepping stone last year. And with the athletes that I saw this year, can only I can only have the same opinion that it's going to be a huge stepping stone for a lot of first time pros and first time pro winners this year. And I will mention one in particular, two in particular. Um, Brandy Young
Yes.
and Masters Bikini, and I will also mention Carolina. He seems to be going on a roll. So who knows what's coming up in the future for those two guys. And Larissa, she's just ridiculous. I mean, she's only been doing this for a couple of years,
I
and she looks
know.
like a 10. She looks like a 10-year seasoned vet. So, and
I
listen,
agree.
uh, Dr. Jeremiah Wright, he's making a couple of corrections. Don't sleep on Dr. Jeremiah Wright, because
Never.
he's making a couple of corrections, and he is yeah, he's very happy to have won bodybuilding back to back, but he is the reigning Mr. America Classic Physique.
That
He
kind of
wasn't
stung
very
a little,
happy.
huh?
That one gave him a little bee sting,
Yeah.
so he's coming with a vengeance going forward. So
That's fun. I love it. So it created. So your show has created some fire, because what season's just getting started, really, when you're talking of pro shows. So it's going to be fun to see these guys either share the stage together again, and women, or hit their own respective stages in different organizations. Going to claim
and
titles or reclaim titles. This is gonna be a
and let me
fun
give a shout
season.
out. It's going to be awesome, and I got to give one quick shout out because I know we're probably running too long. I want to give a shout out from all of the for all of the for the plane warriors out there. Sammy Roldan coming all the way from California, Larissa coming all the way from California, Rare Breed coming all the way from New Jersey.
Yes.
I mean, we had Lonnie coming from Wisconsin, Eric Murph coming from Oklahoma. I mean, if I'm forgetting somebody, I apologize. But we had so many high caliber athletes coming from all over the country this year. I couldn't be more thankful and honored and blessed for you guys to have chosen my show, guys and girls, to have chosen my show.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I guess that will wrap it up. And we're actually just finishing the second run through here of the highlight video. But thank you so much, Darrell. And everybody knows how to get a hold of you. You are active on Instagram, and all your social media accounts, and then your website as well keeps athletes super informed. I'm just going to throw that up here. You guys, he's constantly go to the website, get on the email list, because he's constantly sending out updates that go directly to your email, which is I find very helpful just as a service provider for him. It keeps me in the loop as well. So I know for the athletes, they must love it. But yeah, that's it. So
No, thank you very
2023, the ball is rolling.
June 3rd and June 4th, and throw this one out there for a little survey question. What
Yeah.
did you guys think about the tux on Sunday? Huh? 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 Pretty clean, right? Yeah, okay, just I clean up okay. I don't always
Best
look like this.
dressed. I think you had Todd Rogers feeling a little, when I make sure when you show up to the Atlas though that yeah, he's not going to let you outdo him there.
Oh, no, I got something special for him. He's not going to see this one coming.
So there's other competitions going on here, guys, not just on the stage.
Oh yeah, there's a shoe game competition. There's a blazer competition. There's a lot of inside baseball stuff going on that makes it a lot of fun. And a
Yeah.
big shout out to Todd also for coming
Yes.
back for the second year in a row.
Second year.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. And we'll see you at the Atlas. Me and Holly are going to make an appearance at the Atlas this year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, guys, everybody have a great night and enjoy yourselves. And again, follow Darrell on Instagram. I know most of you already are, and his website. And we will be doing some real, true highlight recap videos with some stage footage of the athletes. So that's it.
Thank you, Sammy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.